Right, let's see if this works. May as well see if anybody joins, first of all, because I don't know if this is going to work, nor do I know if anybody can hear me or anything like that, or if this thing's all jumpy all over the place. But anyway, how's everybody doing? Hairs everywhere. Perfect. Anyway, this is my MLS does predictions, does MLS Ireland does predictions, that kind of thing. So how is everybody doing today? If you're new to this, hit that subscribe button. This is going to be on Twitch, so hit that follow button, because I don't think I have enough followers to be subscribed to. But anyway, I digress, because there is going to be 10 games on this week tonight, so I'm actually looking forward to it. Hopefully might get to watch a few of them. As you can see on the screen here, I have quite a few stats and all that kind of stuff where I usually get my kind of form sheets kind of from. So why not crack on? So obviously the first game is DC United against New York City FC. What we can tell from already from here, DC United actually got a good enough record from home. They're 3 wins but 3 defeats, which isn't all that great, but they won their last 2, which isn't too bad. Saying that, New York City FC at home do have a good record at home, but away from home this time, I do think they're probably going to struggle against a DC United team who are, let's say, not too bad. Do you know what I mean? So, like, DC United in the last got beaten by Inter 2-2. Well, drew against Inter 2-2 and kind of beaten Houston. But their away record against Columbus Crew isn't great. But their away record isn't too bad. So it is going to be an interesting one. I don't know really which way to go for this one, because this will be an interesting one. DC United against New York City FC should be a good game. It kind of is a rivalry, if that makes any sense. I don't know. DC United at home, away from home. At home. They have a good record. They're coming into form. They're against the New York City FC team who have been not too bad in the grand scheme of things. They're starting to pick up points. They haven't lost a game. Granted, all their last 5 games were basically at home. Now this is the first away game, which is going to be interesting. Nonetheless, I think DC United may get a good result at this one, but I think New York City are coming into this with a bit of form. I might go for like a 2-1 win to New York City FC. Again, I know they haven't played many away from home, but they haven't really got far to go, so they may get a good result out of this one. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to New York City FC. Okay. Anybody in the chat, thank you very much. Or anybody in the stream, tell me, can you hear me, or is this thing buffering all over the place? If so, I would need to stop. Which makes sense then. If you can't hear me, I can't really say it, but you know what I mean. Obviously, the next game is New York Red Bulls against Chicago Fire. Now, Chicago Fire are strange. I think the bottom of the league. They're not too far off the bottom of the league. They haven't won really much in a long time, to be fair. They haven't home and away. They haven't really done much. They are starting to score goals, but it's not enough, to be fair. They got beaten by 4-1 by Atlanta, which isn't great in their last away game. Minnesota 3-0. So coming up against New York Red Bulls team, who has, let's face it, not a great home record. Trickier one, this one. You would think New York City Red Bull should possibly have a better squad in this one. So I'm going to go for like a probably... It's a trickier one to think about. I may go for like a 2-1. I go for a 2-1 win to Red Bulls, just for the fact that they are at home. They are better than Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire not really firing on cylinders at this moment, so I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to the Red Bulls. The next one is Philadelphia against Inter Miami. Now, Inter Miami started off playing very well when they sacked Higuain to the bench. They're starting to climb up the records at the moment, but then they got beaten by DC United 2-all. I'm sorry, they drew against 2-all. Jesus Christ. And then they got beaten by Charlotte, and then they got beaten by New England away from home. So their away home record isn't all that great. Whereas Philadelphia drew their last 4. Not great. They are scoring goals. They're coming up against the Inter Miami team you probably can guess that will score a goal against. So you would put them down for a good result in this one. But their record coming into this one, they haven't really lost many at home. So you would suspect them to get a good result out of this one. I might go for... Should I go for like a 2-1 win? I think Inter Miami will score a goal, and they are capable of scoring goals, and then Philadelphia are capable of letting ones in, unfortunately. So I do think Inter Miami could get a good result out of this one if they don't mess up at the back, or Philadelphia just doesn't. Philadelphia are a strange team. They don't really. Sometimes there's times that they don't feel like to go for it, and this is probably a game where you would think they're going to win, and they kind of take their foot off the pedal, and then the other team kind of counterattacks them or puts them into a mistake, which obviously happens a lot in MLS. But anyway, 2-1 win for that one. And the next one is Minnesota against LA Galaxy. Now, LA Galaxy lost, I believe. Yep, not a very good game against Dallas at home, which isn't great. They beat Austin 1-0, compared that to last time away from home. Then they got beaten by Real Salt Lake 1-0 away from home. So their form isn't all that great. They're coming up against a Minnesota team who haven't been too bad away from home, at home. Sorry, they only lost it twice, won 3 times, drew the once. It's not too bad at home. Minnesota have a good wee home base, if that makes any sense. Good fans, but in the last 3 they haven't really won many. But there are 2 games against teams you would suspect them to win. Colorado Rapids probably not too much, but yeah, I'm going to go for Minnesota against LA Galaxy. Now they've really dropped down the league quite badly, but I'm just coming up with these basically off the cuff. I'm going to go for like a 1-1. Could I go for a 1-1? Yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think these 2 teams are probably capable of beating each other, beating themselves up basically as well. But I think at home they should probably get a good result out of this from Minnesota. I think LA Galaxy are not too bad. Hey James, into the chat we are. Can you hear me? Everything looking okay? Oh good. I'm not bouncing about the place, am I? Jamesy. Take you a while to figure out where I am and start commenting. I know where you live, you mad bastard. Anyway, the next one is Houston Dynamo against Seattle. Seattle lost their last 2 away games, but yeah, sounds great. Camera is good. Good, because it's my phone. And I got this mad thing. So happy days. All's good in the hood. Anyway, Houston Dynamo against Seattle Sounders. Houston Dynamo won last time against Nashville, which was a pretty good result. 2-0, all things considered. And then they got beaten 3 times against the Texan teams. So that's not entirely good. Now they're coming up against a team who you would suspect them to start to kick on, because they did win their one last time at home, Seattle, and that was a good game against Minnesota. So to come up against the Houston team, you would suspect them to get a good result out of this one. It is a bit of a distance to track, but I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Seattle. Just they're a better team. They kind of now they're probably used to playing weekdays, so I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win in this one. I think Seattle Sounders are probably just too good for Houston. Watch them lose. The next one is now Nashville against Montreal. Nashville 2 games at home, 1 win, 1 draw against Montreal, who have a good wee record in the last while. Away from home, they're starting to creep up the league. I think they're first in the West. Sorry, East. They're second in the East. Anyway, not too bad for a team that you wouldn't suspect them to be doing all this great. Granted, they haven't really played many. Like Charlotte, you would suspect them to beat. They beat Orlando, which is a pretty good result. Beat Atlanta, not too bad. It drew with Philadelphia, beat Vancouver, and beat New York Red Bulls, who aren't great at home, weirdly enough. But saying that, Nashville at home, 2 games in their new stadium. Their record at the moment isn't great. They drew against Philadelphia, which wasn't a bad one. They beat Real Salt Lake, which is kind of more equivalent to what I would suspect Montreal is. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Nashville. Or will I? I'll go for like a 2-0 win to Nashville. I think this is probably a game where they could probably get a good result out of. And they should probably get a good... They should probably keep a clean sheet. I know 2-1's basically the go-to score in this thing, as you can tell. Or 1-0. 2-1's not too far off. But yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win. I guess seems fair enough. The next one's Sporting Kansas City against Colorado Rapids. Now, Sporting Kansas City have dropped off quite badly, as you can see, as Colorado Rapids as well, to be fair. But Colorado at home are a very good team. They beat LAFC and Portland, so that's not too bad. Whereas Sporting Kansas City, they're all the way down here. Only won the 2 games out of 12. Isn't great. Scored 10, not too bad, and conceded 23, so that's not excellent. So this is unfortunate. They were a good team, but second from bottom isn't great. Now they're at home against a Colorado Rapids team who haven't won away. So you would think this is probably going to be a nice wee one for Sporting Kansas City. I might go for like a 1-1. I can't really see these two teams winning it. I think Colorado are the better team, but away from home, it is going to be a trickier one for them. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0. So I'm going to stick for the 1-0. The next one is Vancouver against Dallas. Dallas is actually surprising a lot of people at the moment. Vancouver, you would suspect at home, again, they're actually not too bad. They're surprising quite a few at home. They're still at bottom, but to beat Toronto and beat Sporting Kansas City, 2 teams you would suspect them to win, to be fair. But they're coming up against a Dallas team who are doing pretty well. Beat LA Galaxy away from home, beat Seattle, drew with Sporting Kansas City away from home. So this is kind of where you suspect them to be playing against a sort of caliber, if that makes any sense. But I think Dallas probably should win this one. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Dallas. 2-1 win to Dallas. 2 more to go. Hopefully this is probably a better game. 2 teams are at the very top of the league, basically. LAFC against Austin. So I know Austin lost their last 2 games. 2 teams, Real Salt Lake I would have suspected them to get a good result against. They got beaten by LA Galaxy now. This is kind of where the situation, I think they're going to start making... They're going to play teams in and around them, and I don't think they're going to get away with it too much the way they kind of got before, like the beaten Houston, beat Vancouver, DC United. These are all teams that kind of below them. So this is going to be a away game against LAFC, who are a very good team. I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to LAFC, just for the fact is they're a very good team. Austin are starting now to meet teams who are capable of beating them, so I'm going to stick for a 2-0 win on that one. I'm just putting all this all on a notepad if anybody's curious. So I remember my great predictions. They're always great. Larry James. San Jose against Portland Timbers, which is the last game of Wednesday. Tonight, Thursday. You know what I mean? So San Jose Earthquakes are not a bad team. They won their last game, I believe, which was quite a surprise. That was against Colorado Rapids. The one they won, they drew against Vancouver, which isn't a bad result. But at home, they're actually doing not too bad. Beating Seattle, beating Colorado. These are 2 teams that are well above them. Thank you, James. I don't think I'm ever wrong. No. Anyway, Portland, away from home, are very sporadic. They're kind of all over the place. Mid-table is probably quite right. They've beaten Sporting Kansas City 7-2, which was a pretty amazing result, all things considered. But they're away from home, so they're very all over the place. So San Jose Earthquakes against Portland Timbers. Well, I'll go for a 1-0 win to San Jose. Sure, why not? Yeah, I think that's not too bad. Those are my predictions. I don't think they're too bad. I hope to God they do all right. I think they will. I was wondering if there's anything I would change in there, but I don't think there is. Possibly the only one I would be more curious about would be the Sporting Kansas City against Colorado, where I do think Colorado could probably win this one as well, but Sporting Kansas City at home have a thing to prove something. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to go for a 1-1 on that one anyway. Yeah, that's my predictions. Hope you enjoyed them. I know you did, James. And I hope to keep this up. I'm going to start doing more of these kind of during through the week because there is more weekday games. So, hope to God that's it for now. Hope this thing came out okay. And I hope to see you later. And I hope to see you on the next one. Toodaloo. Bye now.